North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum is with us now. Sir, good morning to you. We know you're a Trump supporter. That has been clear through the past 6 months. However, the polling suggests that she's got some momentum. Where today, some 88 days away, do you see this race?
Well, the race is still going to favor President Trump. The set of cards that Harris and Walz have, you've got an economy that's in shambles. You got a border that's open. You've got wars, breaking out around the world, and whether that's advances by China, advances by Iran. I mean, it is the total mess that Joe Biden and Harris have left us is still there. This honeymoon period is unbelievable, Bill and Shannon. I mean, she's gone almost 3 weeks without having to take a question from a reporter as a candidate. Anybody who's ever run for president knows, even if you're an unknown candidate, you can't go like 3 hours, much less 3 weeks, without somebody asking you a question. And if you were dodging them for 3 weeks, you'd be out of the race. And then you just mentioned she hasn't done a press conference since December. I mean, that's got to be a new record for a vice president. And then she never mentions Joe Biden's name. And she was part of this conspiracy and cover-up about Joe Biden's health. She was part of the big lie that went on for over a year. The media was complicit with that, and the same media that was covering up Joe Biden is now lifting her up without putting her on even the most minimal kind of questions about policy that you would ask any candidate, even at the very beginning of a presidential campaign. And here she is, the nominee, and they're giving her a free pass. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, and Governor, why would they change strategy? As Bill says, the polling is looking good. Let's put up this Marquette Law School, which has shown a big change from when President Biden was on the ticket to now. It's giving a 4-point advantage. That's head-to-head nationally. Actually, there we're showing 6. If you're voting right now. And so the no press conferences, the no being pushed, it seems to be working. So her unfavorables or down favorables are up. We were told that she was super unpopular and nobody wanted to hear from her. This strategy is working, though. Why would they change?
Well, I guess as long as they have a complicit media that isn't, I mean, for her to say that, hey, I'm trying to schedule an interview in the next 3 weeks, I mean, it's stunning that they can say that and not be questioned and be like, oh, that's great. She's really getting after it. But when you take a look at those poll numbers, you can't look at the national polls. You got to go state by state. I've always said this race is coming down to 7 swing states. And in those 7 swing states, even take a place like Minnesota, remember President Trump won 78 out of 87 counties when he in 2016, when he ran for president in a state that they said a Republican could never win. And so this is the message is out there. People understand when we start talking about the economy, people understand that they're worse off today under Biden-Harris than they were under the great economy he had with President Trump. We didn't have wars under President Trump. Now we've got them breaking out all over the world. And this open border, they can't, with Harris being the open border czar, she can't run from that. The one thing they asked her to do, and as the open border czar, and then she was the swing vote on the Inflation Creation Act. She in the Senate voted for this incredibly bad piece of legislation that's caused inflation, that's eroding Americans' energy advantage. It's empowering dictators around the world. She's key to that. I mean, she was the swing vote, and she has to own the policies that she's voted for. I know that the Trump campaign is going to hold her to those.
Well, Governor, based on that answer, there's a lot to shoot at. And we're going to see how well the former president can prosecute the case against her. 2 things here. Number 1, on the Kamala Harris honeymoon from yesterday's press conference. Watch.
The honeymoon period's going to look. She's got a little period. She's got a convention coming up. It's about policy. It's not about her. I think she's incompetent because I've watched her. She destroyed California. She destroyed San Francisco. Everything she's touched has turned to bad things. I'm not going to use foul language, but everything she's touched has turned bad. She's incompetent.
I think the one key line in there is it's about policy. It's not about her, and we'll see whether or not he sticks to that. The Wall Street Journal today writes this in their editorial. Kamala Harris, mystery commander-in-chief. How would the vice president keep America safe in a dangerous world? The voters deserve some answers, and they tick off a number of things, why couldn't you stop Putin going into Ukraine, the Afghan withdrawal, what's happening with China, South China, on and on and on it goes. And we're hyper-focused on domestic matters in a lot of ways because of our economy and the inflation issue, which is another topic that needs to be prosecuted fairly and deeply over the next 88 days. If you go to her website, there are 0 issues that are listed on her website. When does that change, Governor?
Well, that's right, Bill. There's 0 policies on the Biden-Walz or the Harris-Walz website, as you pointed out. And one glimpse that we have about her on policy is the whole decision that she made about who was going to be her VP. I mean, she passed on Governor Shapiro in part to placate the Hamas wing of the Democrat Party. And throughout this, any statement that that Biden and Harris have made about Israel have been really advocating on behalf of Hamas and trying to tell Israel to stand down. And that should tell us certainly one thing that we know about her policy. And President Trump, there was never a president that was stronger on Israel than President Trump. From a commander-in-chief, President Trump equals strength. Harris is the same as Biden. Weakness. Weakness invites wars in America. And the big stick that we can carry around the world is energy dominance. And Harris has led the charge in trying to kill the U.S. energy industry. And we talk about the president being so powerful of the United States, but the president of the United States only can shut down about 10% of the world's energy production, and that's here in the United States. So when they go after U.S. energy, that's when they're empowering Iran.
I get it.
Russia.
I get it. The piece concludes with this. Americans should not have to read tea leaves to figure out if Ms. Harris would keep the country safe in a treacherous world, and that world is treacherous.
It's a lengthy list and worth to read. Governor, thank you very much. Always good to see you.
Thank you, sir. We'll talk again.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.